You're watching Taste the Victory.
Hello people of the future, I am in Philly Regionals right now playing out of state, and this video is recorded in advance to make sure we have content to keep up with the upload schedule. It's been a while since we've done one of these, but let's see if we can get back on the wagon with another set review, this time for Extra Set 2 Digital Hazard. It is Tamer focused, and it is a shorter set than the traditional main set, so hopefully my mental can hold up long enough to do this video, because these get pretty long, but I hope to do more of these going forward. Let's go ahead and hop right into it. Should you get the set, let's look at the card by card to let the set decide for itself. We're going to give every color a rating at the end of this video, so go ahead and skip to there, or stay tuned ideally to see if it's worth it for each color. We're going to start with our babies and make our way up throughout the set. First up is Digimon. First of all, yes, get this set because this dude is so cute. This guy alone makes it worth it. Okay, but to get serious, when attacking, once per turn, if this Digimon has Guilmon or any of, Guilmon line in its traits, draw one. So that is fantastic for the Guilmon line because red is a color that lacks draw power, so really a crucial egg for that deck. Then after that, we have Xiaomon. Xiaomon is inheritable all turns. While this Digimon is level 4, it gets plus 1000 DP. So this is meant to be used with jamming Digimon, the new Caesarmon introduced in the set. But this actually becomes a very fantastic egg for Armor Rush, because a lot of your Digimon they're going to be swinging are level 4, so this gives you a nice 1000 DP, easy to meet boost. So that's great for armors there. After that, we got Viximon, so cute. Your turn, once per turn, when you use an option card with a cost of 2 or more, draw 1. So this is meant to be paired with the new plugin options introduced in the set for the new Sakuyamon archetype. It's good for what it is in the archetype. Then we have Gummymon, just adorable. Your turn, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, draw 1. So that's an easy condition for green to meet, and then even easier for the in-archetype Terriermon line. So fantastic egg for the color. After that, we go to Black's egg, which is Hotmon. Your turn, while you have a Black Tamer in play, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP, which is okay. Black has pretty easy DP boost anyway, so you're not going to be running it too often. Then we have Yamon. Yamon is so cute. The poor little guys in the background. Tokomon just screaming. Your turn. While there are 10 or more cards in your trash, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP. So 2000 is a really nice generous boost. Not too easy to get on many cards. 10 or more isn't the hardest condition to meet, so this is okay maybe as a one-of for your decks for like Beelzemon strategies. And finally, our last one is going to be a white egg, which is actually a huge 15,000 DP Digimon. So this is basically the boss monster. You can read the effects right here. This is basically the boss monster to D-Reaper. You push this out and you start doing all the effects to get sources underneath it and to try to get Reaper out, Gatekeeper out. It's a really fantastic deck that's cheap and fun. Moving on to our actual Digimons, we have Red first up. Red has Guilmon because the whole line for this set is the Guilmon line. So if you're a fan of Season 3, which is Tamers, you're going to love this set. If you're a fan of Guilmon specifically, you're going to be an even bigger fan because not only are there good Guilmon cards in here, you have more support in Booster Set 9. On play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, and it's basically a searcher for any of the Guilmon line and Takato. Being able to grab 2 targets is always nice. And then inheritable, if this once per turn, if this Digimon has Growlmon or Galmon in its name, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP. So that at least lets you take out stray rookies, which is really good for the archetype. A lot of good roll compression in there. After that, we have Growlmon. When attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 2000 DP or less. If you have a Red Tamer in play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less. Inheritable, if this Digimon has Galmon or Growlmon in its name, delete one of your opponents. So basically same inheritable as Guilmon. The effect is nice, so you can push out at any moment so you have a Tamer and start taking control of your opponent's board, because 4000 will hit majority of the relevant rookies, so you can just swing into maybe one of their other suspended Digimon and then delete the other rookie with that. War Growlmon, when attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less. If you have a Red Tamer in play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less. So similar effect to Growlmon, but just Digivolved, basically. And then inheritable, add 1000 DP to the maximum DP based effect deletion. So this is a good card for the archetype because it lets you control stuff by deleting it with its main attacking effect. And then it's inheritable, it's really good to be able to hit important threshold with Gallantmon. Speaking of Gallantmon, we have 4 Digivolve into 12,000 DP. Your turn, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP. While you have a Red Tamer in play, add 2000 DP to the maximum DP you can choose with DP-based deletion effects, and then when attacking, choose any number of your opponent's Digimon whose total DP adds up to 6000 DP or less and delete them. With a Tamer, that makes it 8000, hitting a decent amount of ultimate, so it's a really good card because it lets you aggro at your opponent's security while also answering their board. So that becomes really important later on into the Digimon game as we get Booster Set 9. Things that can swing at security while also answering your board at the same time become really crucial and kind of push older stuff out of the meta. After that, we got Megidramon, the evil corrupted Digivolution of Gallantmon. It is 5 Digivolve into 13,000 DP. The name of this card slash Digimon is also treated as Chaos Gallantmon. When Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 1000 DP or less, with 10,000 DP or less. If no Digimon was deleted by this effect, trash the top 5 cards of both players' decks, and then on deletion you may play 1 Guilmon and 1 Tocado from your hand and or trash without paying their memory cost. This is fantastic to be able to panic delete a Mega like that, especially if you have War Gromlin underneath it. 11,000 hits a lot of Mega thresholds, and then to be able to float right back into a Guilmon and another Tamer and potentially warp Guilmon into another Galamon is really great follow-up. So red has a really good line off the gate, to be honest. After that, we got blue, which is looking a lot more generic since it doesn't seem to be based around any one Tamer, any one character from Season 3. We have Labramon. When attacking, once per turn, if this Digimon has jamming, gain 1 memory, which means it is meant to be used with Caesarmon, who has jamming naturally, and then anything else that may have jamming, because I believe there was like a Frigimon in Booster Set 1 that had jamming, so you could use it with that. So gain 1 memory when attacking is nice enough. Good generic cards, you like seeing that in the game. After that, we got Ice Devimon. Christopher Walken voiced, by the way, in Season 4. When attacking, return one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon with no Digivolution cards to its owner's hand. So there's a lot of cards in the game that already do this effect without the condition, and sure, those are at higher levels, so you have to balance it out, but because of that, it's okay at best. You won't see much play. Caesarmon is just another jamming Digimon, but 6,000 DP is nice, you know, just to avoid the swing back from your opponent next turn. We have Gorillamon, which, to be fair, I really like the Gorillamon in the starter deck art way more. On play, you may play 1 level 3 Digimon card for one of your blue Digimon Digivolution cards without paying its memory cost. So that's cool, you know, technically Mega Zoo support because you're playing hard bodies, you're playing really high level DP Digimon. You can put this in a Waymon deck and it works really well there. Good generic support, I like to see that, so it looks like blue got cursed with the generic support in this set. After that, we got Leomon. So this one does have to do with Jerry from Tamers. This has 2 Digivolve into 4,000 DP. Opponent's turn. While you have a Tamer in play, this Digimon gains blocker. And then on deletion, of course, you always got to give the Leomon on deletion effects. Gain 2 memory and draw 1. Oh, that's actually really good. So if you remember back in 1.0, we had an on deletion gain 2 memory Leomon. So this does that and it draws 1. So it's basically a straight upgrade of that old card. You could probably start building towards a Leomon tribal with this too, which is really nice. So especially since it gets an X antibody form in Booster Set 9, this is a very nice card just for all of its roll compression and not feeling as bad when it gets deleted after a swing into security. And with a low 4,000 DP threshold, it's likely to be deleted. Then we have Marine Angemon. This is that guy with glasses from Tamers whose name I never remember. On play, for each of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards, recovery +1. Wow, that seems really good on paper. This effect can't decrease the number of cards in a security stack to 6 or more. So I can't hit 6? I stop at 5? Or can I hit the 6? Because the wording there is kind of weird. I would have worded it as can't heal past 6, but I'm assuming you can 6 and then stop from there. So that's kind of fair. On play, I'm assuming there's ways later on in the set to reduce it that I just can't remember right now, but for 11, that seems okay, kind of panicky. I think since it's half yellow, you'd rather just run Kazuchimon for the same idea of the effect. You know, Marine is just okay. I know it has a Tamer that supports it in the set, but I don't think it's very good either. So this is just bulk. We move on to yellow, which does have an archetype supporting the Tamer's anime. That is Rika's Digimon Renamon. So we're going to see a lot more consistency in the cards here because they're not just generic support. Yellow has Renamon on play, reveal top 4 cards, add 1 Cubimon, add 1 from the Renamon line in its name, and 1 Rika. So like the Guilmon, it's a fantastic card because the search is deep and is likely to hit 2 cards off of its search. It has the inheritable once per turn. When you use an option card with a cost of 2 or more, gain 1 memory. So that's really good to help extend your turns because Renamon, this deck is going to be playing a lot of option cards, sometimes for free because of Sakuyamon's ability and the plugins that we're going to see later when we get there. So it's a really great roll compression, fantastic card for the deck. After that, we have Lopmon. Lopmon Rush becomes kind of a deck in Booster Set X2. On play, if you have 3 or fewer security cards and Shu Chong Wong in play, recovery +1. So that recovery +1 on play on a rookie seems really dangerous. Like they definitely have to balance that carefully. Susan, is it her name Susan in the English dub? Susie, something like that. But Shu's, depending on Shu, I do remember Shu being a good tamer. So this is a potentially really fantastic generic card if you push it into like a small package with its tamer. And if not, it helps Rookie Rush strategies keep pace pretty well. After that, we got Cubimon. When Digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 option card with plugin in its name among them to your hand, and bottom deck the rest. Good searcher because you need those plugins for your deck because it's one of the main components of it, so that's fantastic. And then inheritable is your turn once per turn. When you use an option card with a cost of 2 or more, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -2,000 DP for the turn. So there, I believe Talmon has the same inheritable. You want to get this into the line to be able to delete opponent's Digimon just by activating effects from how much DP minusing you end up doing on them. So Cubimon is fantastic. Just because you need the names and the inheritable in archetype effects in this deck, Cubimon's a 4-up automatically because of that. We have Antilamon. If you have Shu Chong Wang in play, your Lopmon can Digivolve into this card in your hand for a Digivolution cost of 3, ignoring its Digivolution requirements. Yo! Warp Digivolving in Lopmon Rush? That's really good. I forgot what this card did. When attacking once per turn, you may trash the top card of your security stack to unsuspend the Digimon. This card is fantastic. It does so much for the deck. I really like it a lot. Back to the Renamon strategy, we have Talmon. When Digivolving, you may play 1 Rika from your hand without paying its memory cost. So free Tamer is awesome. In archetype, Rise Greymon is basically invaluable. And then Inheritable is your turn once per turn, basically same as the Cubimon, because you want to stack those effects to delete your opponent's Digimon. Really fantastic, easy auto 4-of. Then we have Sakuyamon. I absolutely adore this art because not only are the colors gorgeous, it references the Digivolution scene in the anime. When Digivolving, unsuspend one of your Digimon, and for each Tamer you have in play, return 1 option card with plugin in its name from your trash to your hand, and then your turn, when you use an option card with a cost of 2 or more, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3,000 DP for the turn. So if you have the full stack of effects, that is minus 7,000, that is deleting a lot up to the ultimate level, and then being able to unsuspend your Digimon to go for a game or OTK strategies, get back your plugins and stuff like that is amazing to keep recycling them. This deck is really good. It's so close to being really good, but like, it's just really bricky because there's so many pieces to it. Sakuyamon is definitely something to keep an eye on. Like, this is fantastic. This in archetype is fantastic. It just needs a way to up its consistency. Then we have Terriermon, my favorite Digimon line in the whole series. We have the first is the rookie. Your turn, once per turn, when you play a green Tamer, gain 1 memory. So I think giving Terriermon more searchers would really not have done anything crazy to the power level of this deck. It would have been perfectly balanced still. Your turn, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, this Digimon gets plus 2,000 DP for the turn. So that's an easy condition to meet DP boost, so that is a good inheritable, but more DP boost is now agree needed. It has plenty of it. After that, we move on to me. Gargomon, 2 to Digivolve into 5,000 DP. Your turn, when this Digimon would Digivolve, if you have a green Tamer in play, reduce the Digivolution cost by 1. So that is on paper really good, but the handicap to this deck in the booster set X2 is that a lot of it requires Tamer effects. So if you're just not seeing them, it really hurts because we had an old Gargomon that was naturally 1,000 DP, and I don't think having this guy be naturally 1000 DP would have done anything to break this deck, so that's kind of unfortunate for this Gargomon. And then your turn, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon, basically same as the Gargomon. So the theme of X2, all these Digimon have kind of similar inheritable effects because you want to get them into the perfect stack to get big total of all the inheritables. Then we have Rapidmon. When Digivolving, if you have a green Tamer in play, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, so that's really nice. And then Inheritable, when one of your opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, this Digimon gains security attack +1. So that's good to be more aggro with the deck, since that is something that is kind of, you know, a little lacking for green, so that's really nice. We have our first level 6 of green for this set, and this is a really cool one. Parasitemon. This is from one of the Digimon Tamers movies, Runaway Locomon. I'm not sure which of the two that is, but it is end of attack. You may place this Digimon under one of your Digimon as its bottom Digivolution card, and its inheritable is security attack +1, and the Digimon gets plus 2000 DP. So unfortunately, you do not get to put the sources underneath it. It is simply a game mechanic that you have to remember that all the sources, whenever a card leaves the field, has to go to the trash. So you're only putting Parasitemon underneath. A really cool thematic effect there for a Parasite. But consider you have to build all the way up to this. It's just not worth it. It's bulk card. After that, we have Mega Gargomon. Cool art. 5 to Digivolve into, pretty expensive. When Digivolving, for each green Tamer you have in play, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. They don't unsuspend your opponent's next unsuspend phase, which is admittedly pretty decent for the cost. And then when attacking once per turn, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon with DP less than or equal to this Digimon's DP to its owner's hand. So not bad at all, but the main problem with all these cards in X2 for green is that they are all just really, really fair. For 5 costs, I think this card is way too fair. It'll keep you, it'll keep lethal off your board maybe for 1 turn, but after that, if you don't win then, it's kind of just like, what am I doing? Especially since like you're probably going to be encouraged to run stuff like Flower Cannon again, because otherwise you're going to have to be building up a second stack to be suspending stuff with their when Digivolving effects, so it's just okay. We move on to Black. Black has Monodramon, representing the Justimon line. On play, it's just another searcher, and you get to add all Black Tamer cards among them to your hand. So that's really cool, because that could potentially high roll. I mean, really, I've seen people play Davis and bottom deck all their Tamers, so maybe you could get a whole bunch of Tamers off this, like 3 of them. Then we got Gardromon, really cool art on this one. 2 Digivolve into 4000 DP blocker, and then on play, one of your Digimon gets plus 3000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. So if you already have another blocker out, this gets 2 of them and makes one of them pretty gigantic. So this is pretty decent, but I don't know how much play it'll actually see since blockers are pretty easy to answer now. After that, we got Strike-Dramon. When Digivolving, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 Black Tamer card among them to your hand, and place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck. So more Black Tamer Surge, and while Black Tamers are really important to Justimon top end, it would have been nice to be able to grab more stuff like Justimon himself. And then we got his Inheritable. When attacking once per turn, if you have 2 or more Black Tamers in play, gain 1 memory, which is, again, pretty decent, but that's a lot of setup just to get something like that other decks could do way easier, so it's an okay card. We got Locomon. Your turn, when this Digimon would Digivolve into a ground Locomon in your hand, reduce the Digivolution cost by 1. So that could potentially be good depending on if ground Locomon is good, so very in archetype. Then we have Andromon. Blocker again, and an opponent's turn, all of your Digimon with blocker get plus 2000 DP, so that naturally makes him an 8000 DP block on your opponent's turn. Pair this with Gardromon, you have some pretty big wall setup, it's super okay. Cyberdramon is next. We got when Digivolving, you may play 1 Rio from your hand without paying its memory cost. That is fantastic. And then your turn, while you have no Tamers in play, this Digimon can't attack players. So that's really unfortunate, but I guess you have to find a way to balance a 10,000 DP ultimate. And then it has the Inheritable effect. When attacking, once per turn, if you have 2 or more Black Tamers in play, Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. That is genuinely a very good Inheritable there, just to always be able to do it without having to pay a memory cost. The more passive you could do the Digivolve effect, the better it is, so that's a nice Inheritable. Then we do see that ground Locomon. That is your turn, this Digimon can't attack your opponent's Digimon. And then all turns, for each card in your trash with Cyborg or Machine and its traits, Digimon gets plus 1000 DP. Yeah, this card is way too fair. I guess the idea was that that effect would stack pretty easily, making it gigantic. So sure, that's an okay way to balance it. But I'm not paying, even with 2 memory, just to be able to swing into security with a 14,000 DP Digimon, 15, something like that, you know, because I could just go into a level 7 that has better effects for it. Next up, we got Reapermon. This dude is awesome. The final boss of Digimon Rumble Arena. I always thought he was so cool. He has Reboot, and then opponent's turn, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon becomes unsuspended, Digivolve 1. So I forgot the ruling on this, if this actually works during the unsuspend phase itself, or if it's specifically when an effect does it. I'm pretty sure it would work with the unsuspend phase, so that is on paper really strong. The problem is this guy is 4 to Digivolve into, only 11,000 DP, and he is a level 6, so it's kind of too late by the time you get there. It's pretty slow for that effect. But I guess on any earlier level, it'd be pretty dangerous to print this on, because that's just continuously Digivolving is really strong. Reaper is an interesting card that maybe one day could be really busted. Then we got Justimon itself, Blitz Arm. So he can't swap between arms. This is only one, I believe, and maybe BT10 we get another Justimon arm. But this one does 3 Digivolve into, 11,000 DP, and when Digivolving, activate one of the effects below. This Digimon gets plus 2,000 DP for the turn, unsuspend this Digimon, or delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 5 or less, and then when attacking, once per turn, for each Tamer you have in play, activate this Digimon's when Digivolving effect. So that is awesome. You can Digivolve, pick one of the effects, attack if you have a bunch of Tamers that the bottom end sets up for you anyways. You get to, if you have enough, you get to pick all 3 of them again. So that is awesome. Because with the unsuspend effect, you could go for a potential OTK there. Plus 2,000 makes those swings pretty safe, and then delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 5 or less, deletes any blockers that would prevent that OTK. So this Justimon has a lot of potential. Huang Zero really likes it, and there should be a video of him showing it off because it's really strong with a red splash. Then we are moving on to purple, one of the most hyped colors people are really looking forward to in this set because it's got that Beelzemon support, and Beelzemon is just so cool. We got Impmon. When this card is trashed from your deck, if it wasn't trashed by EX2 Impmon's effect, you may trash up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. So that is really good to keep filling up your strategy, basically light Sworns. And then on play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon card with Beelzemon in its name, and 1 Eye and Mako among them to your hand, place the remaining at the bottom. Again, another fantastic searcher because it has multiple targets. Inheritable, while this Digimon has Beelzemon in its name, it gets plus 3,000 DP. That is gigantic DP boost, so I really like that Inheritable a lot, especially if you can Warp Digivolve with the old Booster Set 1 Beelzemon. It's really good to make him a big, quick beater. Then we got Devidramon. Devidramon has Retaliation, and then when attacking, you may trash the top 2 cards of your deck. On paper, that Inheritable is really good, and Retaliation is nice to prevent the clapback on your opponent's turn, but there's a lot of cards that kind of do similar work to it, so it's not that great. Moving on to the next page, we are continuing purple. We got Dobramon, 2 to Digivolve into 4,000 DP. When you would play this card from your hand, reduce this play cost by 2 if you have Alice in play. On deletion, trash the top 3 cards of your deck, then return 1 purple Digimon card or 1 purple Tamer card from your trash to your hand. So this is a pretty decent card that offers a lot of potential flex spot. I like it. It's pretty good. Reduces its cost. Alice itself is a good tamer, so you would likely to have it out, play it for 3, you know, then keep recycling. It's decent. I like it. Good generic card. Then we have Mephistomon. On play, draw 2, and then trash 2 cards in your hand. For 7, that's not bad. And then when attacking, once per turn, you may trash 1 card in your hand to gain 1 memory. That's interesting, and I'm sure there's some loop potential just waiting to be discovered for that. Very okay generic card. Then we got Golfmon. When Digivolving, all players trash cards in their hand until they have 5 cards left. Your turn, once per turn, when one of your effects trashes a card in your hand, you may unsuspend one of your Digimon. There's a lot of interesting potential with this Digimon. I would have to see what people do with this line before I can make an accurate judgment on it, but it gets me excited because there is a lot of potential and interesting, unique effect. I like that. Then we have the star of the show, Beelzemon. When this card is trashed in your deck, you may play 1 Impmon from your trash without paying its memory cost. That could easily set you up for lethal. Then, when Digivolving or when attacking, you may trash the top 2 cards of your deck, then delete one of your opponent's level 3 or lower Digimon. For every 10 cards you trash, add 1 to the maximum level of the Digimon you can choose with this effect. So, before Icemon was limited, this was an insane card in the deck because you could just like delete like ultimates, sometimes even megas so easily. This card is insanely fun. This is a really, really fun payoff to like basically Lightsworn if you play Yu-Gi-Oh-esque deck. I love it a lot. It's a really great, fantastic Beelzemon. This is definitely like a 4 of if you go all in on this strategy, maybe 3, which is on 4. After that, we move on to something we don't see in a lot of other sets, the white section. Reapermon itself is a white deck, so there's a lot of cards supporting it, and Calumon, so we actually have quite a few to go through for that color. That's rare. When you would play this card from your hand, reduces play cost by 2 if you have Guilmon, Terriermon, Renamon, or Impmon in play, which isn't the hardest condition to meet, so for one it's nice. Then your turn, this Digimon can't attack, and then your turn, when one of your Digimon digivolves, you may suspend this Digimon to gain 1 memory, draw 1 card, and have one of your Digimon get plus 3000 DP for the turn. So, be warned, this card looks fantastic on paper. It looks amazing because it does so much, but you are typically going to be playing this for 3 because these decks, all of those decks, the fatal flaw with that is almost all of them, except maybe the Beelzemon deck, wants to stay in raising and isn't just going to be leaving a Guilmon out on the field. And if it is, it's because they played the Searcher, so playing this for 1 would only pass turn, so like maybe you could choke your opponent at 1, but it's an unlikely scenario. So this would rarely be coming onto the field and sticking for very long. It can't attack, so it doesn't have that usefulness of Bokomon to be able to be one last swing for game. And while it does do all this, gaining 1 memory, draw 1, I would rather have the 2 that Bokomon gets me, because that literally makes some Digimon free, while this only slightly reduces the cost of some things. It's a lot more fair, basically, way easier to remove. A lot more fair than Pokemon and won't be seen the same level of play as him. We got Searcher. This one reveals you can play up to 50 cards with this in your deck. So it's kind of like Eosmon. And then when you would play this card from your hand, reduce this play cost by 2 if you don't have another Searcher in play. Your turn, the Digimon can't attack players. And then on play, draw 1, inheritable. All of your Digimon with Digi-Eggs and its traits get plus 1000 DP. This card is incredible. It does a lot. It helps you cycle. It sets up the main win condition of the deck, which is to get enough sources underneath Mother D-Reaper. So basically, you are going to have to run like 18 of this. It's a really fantastic card. Good thing it is common. Then we have Pendulum Feet. On play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with D-Reaper and its traits and 1 ADR Searcher 2 among them to your hand. And then place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. So it's a good, fantastic Searcher because D-Reaper runs ton of its D-Reaper Digimon, so really likely to hit it just off of that. And then also the possibility to hit 2 because it also searches Searcher specifically is fantastic. We have Bubbles. Bubbles is a security Digimon. You may place one of your Searchers from in play or from your hand under one of your mothers. Fantastic security effect since that deck wants to add a lot of Searchers underneath it, underneath the mother. And then on play, you may place one of your Searchers from in play or from your hand under one of your mothers as its bottom Digivolution card. This card is very valuable to the strategy. You're going to be running 4 of it because it's good fuel for it. Fantastic card. Then we have Jerry, which is basically a Searcher that suspends itself to search for the Searchers. There's lots of searching. It's a fantastic card because if they don't answer this right away, which in the early game, if you're able to play it fast enough, they may have to take a turn to be able to answer it. It's really good continual fuel to your mother by getting multiple Reapers underneath it. So it's a fantastic card, 3 to 4. Then after that, we have Creepy Hands, or just Creep Hands. Opponent's turn, while you have another D-Reaper in play, this Digimon gains blockers. So it's okay. You don't really see this because D-Reaper doesn't really want to buy, doesn't really have a lot of hard time buying time. And then it's blocking at 6,000. It's pretty easy to answer. You don't really worry about, most decks don't really worry about this, so it doesn't see too much play besides one or two of. Then we have Pallades Head, where it's able to delete a Digimon with equal to or less than DP than it. So this is paired with the Searcher Inheritable, which gives all of your Digipers plus 1000 DP. So you get multiple Searchers underneath Mother, and this stacks, giving it up to like 9,000, a bunch of DP, and then you delete something off it. So Pallades Head is a really fantastic card. Unfortunately, it is kind of dependent on your other Digimon to be good removal, so it's okay at 2 to 3. After that, we have Hornstriker. This Digimon gets Rush when you play it if you have a Mother in play, so that could be a potential game ender, but the Reaper also has Rush and is what you're focusing towards, so this card doesn't really have a place in the deck. You could run it if you just want more targets for your D-Reaper search, it's fine. After that, we have Optimizer. It is 10 to play, 9,000 DP, and then on play or when attacking, once per turn, if one of your Mother D-Reaper has 5 or more Digivolution cards, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and you may play 1 card with D-Reaper in its traits and a play cost of 10 or less among them without paying its memory cost, and place the remaining at the bottom of your deck. So this is a pretty okay effect. It's really nice to be able to get your board a little bit wider like that, but it has a condition you have to meet. The cards that you're going to play are okay. You can maybe reveal a Hornstriker for game, but you have easier ways to search than this. Then we have Gatekeeper, one of the absolute best cards in the deck. It is so annoying. 11 to play, 10,000 DP. Security plays it without conducting battle. And then on play, if you have Mother D-Reaper in play, recovery +1, so it recovers itself right away. That is so obnoxious. And then opponent's turn, while you have a Mother D-Reaper with 6 or more Digivolution cards in play, all of your opponent's Digimon get security attack -1. That effect stacks, so that is devastating. It is really hard to answer. Like, you have to draw into your removal right away, or you're kind of just screwed for a couple turns. So this card's annoying. Then we have Reaper, where he's able to play himself for basically free if you trash 7 of your Searchers underneath Mother. It has Rush, and then it can unsuspend itself when attacking by returning 2 Searchers from the trash to the bottom of this card. This card basically comes out when your opponent's at low security and you have enough Searchers to unsuspend and swing for game. It is a game ender, and it is amazing. It's basically the main condition you are building towards every game to win. We move on to our level 7s, and these are going to be our secret rares. We have Gallantmon Crimson Mode. This card is so pretty, and it's a really cool effect. When Digivolving, delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP, and then when attacking, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack, add 1 to the number of cards trashed by this effect for every 10 cards in your opponent's trash. So if you're going against purple, this is basically an auto win, but 10 cards is not hard to meet at all. Your opponent will very likely have that by the time you get this guy out, so you'll be able to trash 2 pretty frequently. Crimson Mode is a fantastic ender. Then we got Beelzemon Blast Mode, and can I say this art is so sick. I adore this art, and I hope I pull them. When this card is trashed from your deck, delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. So paired with the mill effects that we saw at the beginning of this video, it's really good to be able to clear your opponent's blockers or just to stop them from expanding into a wide board. When Digivolving, delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level, and then your turn, for every 10 cards in your trash, this Digimon gains security attack +1. So that is awesome, especially consider that this is a level 7, so you can warp Digivolve into the old BT1 Beelzemon, go into this dude, and you suddenly have security attack +1 and all that good stuff. It is fantastic, and there are other ways to warp into this, I believe. So this is a fantastic card. Really good. Unfortunately, the weakness of this deck is that it really sucks into Mother D-Reaper, because a lot of purple's effects deletion is based around the levels, and those Digimon don't have levels, so yeah, it doesn't delete Reapers. So be careful if you have a lot of Reapers in your locals. It's gonna screw over purple. We move on to our Tamers. Now we have a lot of Tamers, I feel like, compared to the normal sets in this one. We have the Goggle Boy himself, Takato. Your turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, you may suspend one of your Tamers to gain 1 memory, and there are a lot of deletion effects in the Gallantmon line, so that's pretty good. But more importantly, your turn, when one of your Digimon will Digivolve into a Digimon in the Guilmon line, that Digimon gains when Digivolving Blitz. That is really good to be able to swing and activate its when attacking effects to delete something based on how much DP they have, and it helps you push for game, activate effects. It's a fantastic Tamer. Whoops, we skipped some cards there. Kenta, that's his name, Kenta Kitagawa. Your turn, when you would play a Marine Angemon from your hand, reduces play cost by 1. You guys saw earlier, that thing is 11 cost. Sure, this guy's only 2, so you can stack them out. But like, if you get 4 of these guys, that is still only reducing it to what, like 7 cost? That's a little better if you get to have a very high recovery counts off of that, but that also depends on your opponent's board at that point, so not terribly good support there. Your turn, when you play a blue Digimon, you may suspend this Tamer to trash the bottom Digivolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon. Then if this Digimon plays Marine Angemon, trash the bottom Digivolution card of all of your opponent's Digimon. So I guess all bad paired together, if you consider that all one effect for Marine Angemon, that's kind of okay, but overall that's still just kind of not a lot, you know, for what it does. It's pack filler. We have Jerry. I like Jerry. She's cool. Then we have Jerry. What a tragic character. On play, you may play one Leomon from your hand without paying its memory cost. That's really nice to be able to quickly cheat that out. And then opponent's turn, when an opponent's Digimon attacks, you may suspend this Tamer to draw 1. So that's not terribly bad. You know, it punishes your opponent for attacking, but 4 cost to not even be a memory tamer, not even to have some kind of memory gain, just reduce the Leomon cost. So it's kind of combo dependent then too, and 4 cost, and doesn't give you, you know, your guaranteed 3 memory like other tamers do. It's kind of rough to recommend. After that, we have Shu Chong Wong. She has 3 memory to play. On play, you may play 1 Lopmon from your hand without paying its memory cost. Yes, I was right. That is what it does. So that synergizes fantastic with the other Lopmon that we saw earlier. That is really good synergy there. Your start of your turn, if you have 3 or fewer security cards, draw 1. So that's awesome. You could be at 3 and then play this another one of these out and then go up to 4 and you got to draw your 1. So this is a fantastic card for the Lopmon deck to be able to rush stuff out. Then we have Rika looking cool. Then we have start of your turn. If you have 2 memory or less, you know, it guarantees you your 3 memory, which is what Jerry should have been in my opinion. Then your turn, when you attack with a Digimon with in the Random Online, in its name, you may suspend this Tamer to use 1 option card plug-in in its name without paying its memory cost. So that's an important part of the strategy. It is really fantastic to be able to play those for free and just get a bunch of effects because those option cards, as we're about to get to in a second, are really strong. Rika's a fantastic Tamer. Henry Wong, it guarantees you 3 memory, and then your turn, when you attack with the Digimon in the Terrarium Online, in its name, you may suspend this Tamer to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. I mean, that's okay, because you already have a lot of one Digivolving suspend effects that require a Tamer out, so you can suspend 2 things off of 1 Digivolution, but I don't know. I think this card's just incredibly fair because like suspending your opponent's Digimon isn't something green struggles with. It's not really a unique gimmick for green, so it's not really what the color needed. It's okay though. Rio, on play, reveal top 4 cards to your deck. I love that he's holding the old Digimon cards in the art. That's really cool. Nice throwback there. On play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Drawmon or Justimon in its name among them to your hand, and place the remaining at the bottom of your deck. So for only 3, I really do like that as a search. That's really good. And then your turn, when you attack with a black Digimon, you may suspend this Tamer to have the Digimon get plus 1000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. Wow, so beyond the searcher, he doesn't really do anything too helpful. I mean, like, I'm not prioritizing getting a Tamer out just for a DP boost, so this guy is basically just there for the search. It's okay. Then we got Kazu Shiota. Start of your main phase, if you have a Digimon with Cyborg or Machine in its traits in play, gain 1 memory. And then all turns, when one of your Digimon with Cyborg or Machine in its traits becomes suspended, you may suspend this Tamer to draw 1. That's decent, you know, to keep up hand advantage, since it looks like the new Gardramon stuff wants you playing it. So it's not terrible at all, because at least it gives you your memory with an easy to make condition. If you really want to build a blockers deck for some reason, you could definitely find worse Tamers than this. It's good. Alice McCoy. Your turn, once per turn, one of your Digimon will Digivolve from level 5 to level 6. You may delete one of your Digimon to reduce the Digivolution cost by 3. So for only 2, this card's insane! Because you can just play out some cheap rookie, like a Searcher rookie, just delete it and reduce it by 3, making a lot of Megas pretty free. It plays itself from security. And then a lot of a cheeky strategy that people were doing in Japan, I don't know if it actually caught on or was useful, but they would play their Searcher to just get it out for 1. And then have it deleted by Alice to get a really, not only a free draw, but also a cheap Digivolution. So I don't know if people will keep doing that in English or if it fizzled out already in Japan, but it's a really generic Tamer that is going to open up a lot of loop possibilities, trust me. Then we have Ian Mako. This is Impmon's Tamers. Start of your turn, if you have 2 memory or less, set it to 3. And then your turn, when you attack with the Digimon, you may suspend this Tamer to trash the top card of your deck. Then if the attacking Digimon is Beelzemon, you may Digivolve it into a Blast mode in your trash for a Digivolution cost of 3. I love the flavor on this card so much because just like in the anime, they give Beelzemon their little toy gun, and that helps them, or they give Impmon the toy gun, and that helps them warp Digivolve into Beelzemon Blast mode. I love it. It is so cute. It's really good because you're milling so much, you're likely to see it. And when Blast mode is milled anyways, it has a good effect on its own. So being able to Digivolve without having to like see it in your hand is fantastic. Ayamako's a really good Tamer for the deck. We do move on to our options, of which Renamon's strategy takes up a lot of the slots. We have Offensive Plug-in A. While you have a Tamer in play, you may use this card without meeting its color requirements. One of your Digimon gets security attack +1, so it's okay. Its security effect reveals the top 3 cards of your deck, and then you add 1 Tamer among them, place the remaining at the bottom. So it's good to refuel and security, and then getting security attack +1 can help you go for lethal with an OTK strategy. It's definitely a strong one of the plugins. So this card makes me so sad. Why is it called Fireball? Bandai, I need an answer. Why isn't it called Pyrosphere? Guilmon's attack is Pyrosphere. This is the English game where we're using dub terms. Where's Pyrosphere? But anyways, Fireball is 2 to play. Main, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less, and if an opponent's Digimon wasn't deleted by this effect, draw 2. So this reminds me of Heir of Dragons back in BT4, I want to say, maybe BT5. Security attack, activate this card's main effect. It's okay. It helps you prevent rookie rush strategies if you are a deck that struggles getting rushed down by those. And if you don't, draw 2 for 2 is honestly really good. I don't hate that at all. So this is an okay strategy, maybe a 1 of 2 of. Then we have another plugin. This is a high-speed plugin D. While you have Tamer in play, ignore the card. They all have that effect. And then main, for the turn, one of your Digimon gets jammy and can't be blocked by your opponent's Digimon. So again, another one that helps you contribute to lethal so your opponent can't stop you. Its security effect lets you draw 1, which is really nice. Then we have Leomon's option, Fist of the Beast King. While you have a Digimon with Beelzemon and its name in play, you may use this card without meeting its color requirements. That's so funny. It's representing the anime. That's cute. Main, suspend one of your Digimon with Leomon. Main, unsuspend one of your Digimon with Leomon or Beelzemon in its name. So that's a really good flavor card, but I mean, I guess if you're going for Leomon Tribal, maybe this has some use, but I think even that deck has better options you would rather use. Because it's not really an OTK deck, you know, can't really go for that. Then we have High-Speed Plugin S, Digivolution Plugin S. Your main, draw 1. Then you may digivolve one of your Digimon into a Digimon card in your hand. You can digivolve for a Digivolution cost of 3 or less without paying its memory cost. So that is nice to be able to just keep going up. And then reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add one Digimon card among them to your hand, place the remaining card at the top of your deck. So good, more recursion. This one is really important to be able to quickly go into your Sakuyamon, so it's a really great, probably the most run, like in terms of copies, how many you run, this is probably the one you run most of in Sakuyamon decks. We have Death Slinger. When this card is trashed from the... it's not called Corona Blaster anymore. That's funny. When this card is trashed from your deck, gain 1 memory. So this is a really nice option at 2 to 3 in those mill decks. And then main, delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. For every 10 cards they trash, add 1 to the maximum level. So with only 20 in there, you're already popping level 6s. So this is a really good card that scales pretty well. I like it a lot. Then we have Blue Card, which is a white card for some reason. 3 to play. While you have a Tamer, ignore colors. Reveal top 5 cards of your deck. You may digivolve one of your Digimon into one non-white Digimon card among them without paying its memory cost. If you don't, add 1 Digimon card among them to your hand. Place your memory card at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is, and then the security effect, you may play 1 Tamer card from your hand without paying its memory cost. So that's okay effect. It's basically like Gotcha Green, where you're kind of just gambling and hoping to see it. Cards like this, it's just kind of really hard to justify it just because it's so gambling, you know, you may completely waste 3 memory or you may high roll and win. So like, I don't know, if you could think of a strategy with this, definitely run it. It's just an okay card. It's just really more just for the theme of X2. So that is going to be the whole set. This is a really fun set, especially if you were a fan of Tamers. There is so much love here. Rating each color, I think first off, red gets off really well because its set is really good out of the box and also gets more support going on. So I think it's really fantastic. I gotta give the red support in this deck 8 out of 10. It's amazing. Then we move on to blue. Blue stuff is really generic. There is the Leomon theme there, but it's not a whole lot of it. It has the least cards dedicated to it from what you see of the other colors. A lot of it's generic and not too well generic, not even to too good strategies generic. Like Waymon is an okay strategy and it got technically indirectly supported in this set. This is a 6 out of 10 for me because there is good stuff in here. And even some of the blue cards, like the option card plugin, you could use it in Renamon. So it's there, it's okay. After that, we got yellow. Yellow is fantastic. It by far, I think, got the best support because yeah, Sakuyamon is kind of bricky, but they worked hard to make it a unique strategy that can compete and is going to see more support later on, I believe, in Booster Set 10 to make it more consistent. So it's nice, fantastic art, great cards, a variety of strategies because you also have the fun Lotmon strategy that was introduced. I gotta give yellow a 9 out of 10 here. It's really good. After that, we have green. Also kind of low on the support. This is mainly just Terriermon and the Parasite stuff. The cards are really fair. I'm not going to call any of them bad by any means, but they are very fair. Bandai is very clearly scared of making green too good again after the HPD fiasco, hidden potential discovered. So these are okay, not bad at all. So I'm going to give it a nice fair 7 because there is some fun decks that can be played there. A great art, good theming. So I'm going to have to give it a 7 out of 10. Better than blue at least. Then we move on to black, which is the Justimon support. So we got quite a lot of support, even getting 2 strategies. You get the blocker stuff for Kazu, and then you get Justimon for Ryu, and for Rio, and it's there. It's pretty good. Like Justimon is just waiting for more support, and it's going to be incredibly good as the more it gets. I think it already could do some OTK fun stuff. So I have to give this. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10 because I don't think it's in the same league as green, but a lot of it is kind of just okay and just waiting to get busted, but it's really fun stuff to play around with, so I gotta give it a solid 7.5 out of 10 because it did get good support. Purple is another one of the amazing decks. It got a pretty low count on Digimon since it wasn't supporting 2 strategies, but the stuff that was there is really fantastic. Amazing art, good competitive use, thematic, I love it a lot. I gotta give Purple an 8 out of 10. White is something that has never been given a rating in this video series before. That's incredibly interesting that we have an entire archetype that is white now to balance it. This is fantastic. Like, it's amazing. It's a good deck. It could get rushed down pretty easily. So, you know, like if you know what you're doing, D-Reaper is pretty easy to answer. Fantastically, unbelievably best theming of the entire set. There is so much flavor in this deck. It's really good. It's pretty varied. I would have to give this a 9 out of 10, right up there with the yellow support. It's amazing. So that is going to be the colors. I think X2 is a fantastic set. Nothing introduced in the set is painfully competitive. They can all compete definitely, but it's a lot more work and they are all basically waiting for more support in future sets. So I wouldn't say you need to rush out to get this, but it is a fantastic set. Highly recommend it. I like it a lot. And for the collectors, it's amazing. I don't think they're showing the alt arts right now on screen, but trust me, there are 30 alts in this set, I believe, something like that. And they are gorgeous, way better than the X1 alts. This is a fantastic set you should definitely consider. I had a lot of fun making this. It's always good to get familiarized with the cards and go through these entire lists. So I hope you guys had fun enjoying it and watching it too. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, remember to stay hungry until you get a taste of victory.